Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a season in life when the greatest strength you can exercise is not in what you say, but in what you refuse to explain. There is a time when silence becomes your strategy and focus becomes your warfare. Because not every battle is meant to be announced. Not every vision is meant to be discussed. Too many people are exhausted because they are trying to convince people who were never assigned to understand them. You don't owe everyone an explanation. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need applause to evolve. Some of the most powerful transformations happen quietly while nobody is clapping, watching, or even believing. Silence is not weakness. Silence is containment. It is the place where clarity is born, where discipline is strengthened, where purpose matures. When you stay silent, you stop leaking energy. When you stay focused, you stop chasing validation. When you stop chasing validation, life starts chasing you. Focus requires separation. You cannot grow into who you are becoming while constantly entertaining who you used to be. Distractions don't always come as trouble. Sometimes they come as conversations, opinions, and unnecessary explanations. Every time you stop to explain yourself, you delay your destiny. Every time you argue with doubt, you lose momentum. There are doors that only open when you stop knocking on the wrong ones. When you focus on yourself, you stop competing. When you stop competing, you start aligning. And when alignment happens, things begin to fall into place without force, without begging, and without stress. Life has a rhythm. When you are focused, you begin to move in harmony with it. You no longer rush what is still developing. You no longer panic when things are quiet. You understand that silence is not absence, it is preparation. Roots grow in darkness before trees ever reach the sky. Stay silent long enough. Your results will introduce you. Stay focused long enough, and opportunities will recognize you. Stay disciplined long enough, and life will reward you in ways you could never explain. You don't have to announce your comeback. You don't have to broadcast your healing. You don't have to defend your path. Keep building. Keep becoming. Keep believing. Because when the time is right, life will bring you everything you never had to chase. In a world that constantly demands noise, reaction, and instant response, silence is often misunderstood. It is mistaken for fear, confusion, or defeat. People assume that if you are not speaking, you must be losing. If you are not explaining yourself, you must be hiding. If you are not defending your position, you must be wrong. But the truth is far more powerful and far more deliberate. Silence is not a weakness. Silence is a strategy. Silence is the decision to preserve your energy instead of wasting it on unnecessary battles. Every word you speak costs something. It costs attention, emotion, and focus. When you speak too often, especially in moments of conflict, doubt, misunderstanding, you leak energy that should have been invested in growth. Silence allows you to gather yourself, to observe without reacting, and to choose your next move with clarity instead of impulse. Those who master silence understand timing. They know that not every moment deserves a response, and not every opinion deserves acknowledgement. Some conversations are designed to distract you, not to develop you. Some arguments exist only to pull you out of position. Silence is how you refuse to be pulled. It is how you remain centered while chaos invites you to react. It is how you keep your balance when others want you to stumble. Silence also protects vision. When a dream is still fragile, too much exposure can damage it. Every vision goes through a season where it must be hidden, protected, and nurtured quietly. Speaking too early invites criticism before the foundation is strong enough to withstand it. Silence allows the vision to grow roots before it is exposed to the wind. What is rooted deeply cannot be easily shaken. Many people talk themselves out of their future. They announce plans before discipline is established. They explain intentions before consistency is formed. Seek validation before alignment is complete. Silence reverses this pattern. It allows action to speak before words ever do. Lets results arrive before announcements are made. And when results speak, they speak with authority that words never could. Silence is also a sign of emotional maturity. The need to explain yourself to everyone is often rooted in insecurity. You know who you are and where you are going. You no longer feel threatened by misunderstanding. You accept that not everyone will see your heart. understand your choices or support your direction. Silence becomes the proof that you trust your own process more than public opinion. There is power in being unbothered. Silence trains you to respond instead of react. Reaction is emotional and temporary. Response is intentional and strategic. Silence creates space between stimulus and action. In that space, wisdom is formed. Decisions made from silence are rarely regretted because they are not rushed. They are measured, thoughtful, and aligned. Silence also sharpens focus. When you stop talking about what you are going to do, you start doing it. Stop explaining your absence, you start enjoying your growth. Noise fragments attention, silence concentrates it. Focus thrives in quiet environments, externally and internally. When the mind is quiet, direction becomes clear. Those who misuse silence believe it means doing nothing. True silence is not inactivity, it is preparation. It is the season where skills are developed, habits are refined, and character is strengthened. It is where discipline is built without applause. It is where resilience is formed without recognition. Silence is the training ground for visible success. History and life itself reveal a pattern. The loudest victories are born in the quietest seasons. Before breakthroughs appear, there is often a long period of isolation, obscurity, and quiet effort. Silence is where endurance is tested. It is where commitment is proven. Anyone can talk when things are visible. Only the disciplined can stay silent while becoming. Silence also disarms opposition. When you refuse to engage in unnecessary conflict, you remove the fuel that keeps it alive. Arguments require participation. Drama requires attention. When you stay silent, you starve distractions of the very thing they need to survive. Your calm becomes unsettling to those who expected a reaction. Your restraint becomes your strength. There is also spiritual and internal depth to silence. It allows you to hear what noise drowns out intuition, conscience, direction, and inner clarity. Constant talking often masks inner confusion. Silence forces you to confront yourself honestly. In that honesty, growth begins. Silence teaches you who you are when no one is affirming you. Silence does not mean you have nothing to say. It means you are waiting for the right moment to say what matters. Strategic silence speaks louder than impulsive words. It communicates confidence, control, self-respect. It says, I know my value and I do not need to prove it. In time, silence pays dividends. People who once doubted begin to notice the change they cannot deny. Questions replace criticism. Respect replaces skepticism. Not because you explained yourself, because your life did. Results have a voice that cannot be interrupted or argued with. Silence is not retreat, it is positioning. It is stepping back to see the full picture. It is choosing growth over noise, wisdom over reaction, and purpose over popularity. It is trusting that what you are building in private will eventually stand in public. So remain silent when provoked. Remain focused when misunderstood. Remain disciplined when unseen. Silence is not the absence of strength, it is the concentration of it. And when the time comes, your silence will have done what words never could. It will have prepared you to stand unshaken, undeniable, and fully formed. One of the greatest burdens people carry is the constant need to explain themselves, to explain their choices, to explain their silence, to explain their growth, to explain their boundaries. Somewhere along the way, many learn to believe that being misunderstood is dangerous, that if people don't approve, something must be wrong. But maturity teaches a powerful truth. You don't owe everyone an explanation. Everyone has the capacity to understand your decisions, and not everyone deserves access to your reasoning. Some people are committed to misunderstanding you because it supports the version of you they are comfortable with. Explaining yourself to such people is not communication, it is self-betrayal. It drains energy and delays progress. Explanations often come from a place of fear of being judged, rejected, or misinterpreted. But when you know who you are, you no longer feel the urge to convince others. Confidence does not argue. Purpose does not beg for validation. Direction does not pause to seek permission. There is a difference between clarity and justification. Clarity is offered when someone has earned the right to understand you. those who support you, guide you, or walk closely with you. Justification is offered to people who question your authority over your own life. You are not obligated to justify choices that align with your values, protect your peace, or move you forward. Every explanation costs something. It costs time, emotional labor, and focus. When you are constantly explaining, you are constantly interrupting your own momentum. Growth requires continuity. Continuity is broken every time you stop to defend your path. You cannot build consistently while pausing to debate your direction with people who are not going where you are headed. Many people want explanations not to understand, but to control. When you explain too much, you hand over power. You invite opinions, corrections, resistance that were never requested. Silence, on the other hand, maintains authority. It says, I am secure enough to move forward without your approval. Boundaries are often misunderstood because they are rarely explained in full, and that is okay. Boundaries are not meant to be negotiated by everyone. They are meant to be honored. When you over-explain boundaries, you weaken them. A firm boundary does not require a long speech. It requires consistency. There is also a seasonality to explanations. Early in life, you may explain yourself because you are still discovering who you are. But as you grow, explanations become fewer, not because you are secretive, but because you are settled. Settled people do not over-communicate their intentions, they execute them. Misunderstanding is uncomfortable, but it is not fatal. Being misunderstood will not stop your growth unless you let it. In fact, some of the most transformative seasons of your life will happen while people misunderstand you. If you wait to be understood by everyone before you move forward, you will remain stuck in place. Explanations do not guarantee acceptance. You can explain yourself perfectly and still be rejected. You can articulate your heart clearly and still be criticized. Knowing this frees you. It teaches you that your peace cannot be outsourced to public opinion. Your confidence must be internal, not negotiated externally. There is wisdom in selective communication. Share your plans with those who pray for you, not those who doubt you. Share your struggles with those who support you, not those who judge you. Privacy is not deception, it is discernment. You are allowed to keep parts of your life sacred. When you stop explaining yourself, something powerful happens. You reclaim your energy. You stop rehearsing conversations that will never happen. You stop replaying misunderstandings. You stop living defensively. That reclaimed energy can finally be invested in becoming who you are meant to be. People who are meant to walk with you will adjust without explanation. They will respect your silence, honor your boundaries, and trust your process. Those who demand constant explanations reveal more about their insecurity than your responsibility. Your life does not need to make sense to everyone. It needs to make sense to you. Alignment is more important than agreement. Peace is more valuable than approval. Progress matters more than popularity. There will come a point where your results speak so clearly that explanations become unnecessary. Not because people finally understand your words, because they can no longer deny your outcomes. Consistency outlasts criticism. Integrity silences suspicion. You don't owe everyone an explanation for your growth, your healing, your distance, or your direction. You owe yourself honesty. You owe your future discipline. You owe your peace protection. Let people think what they want. Let silence answer what words cannot. Keep moving. Keep building. Keep becoming. The right people will understand without explanation, and the wrong ones never needed one in the first place. Focus is not merely the ability to concentrate. It is the courage to separate. Many people desire clarity, progress, and success, yet they resist the one condition that makes all three possible: distance. True focus demands intentional separation from distractions, from noise, from misplaced loyalties, sometimes from people and patterns that once felt familiar. Without separation, focus remains a wish instead of a discipline. Separation is uncomfortable because it feels like loss before it feels like gain. When you separate, you step away from what you know into what you are becoming. You leave behind habits that once comforted you, conversations that once entertained you, and environments that once felt safe. Growth rarely happens in crowded spaces. It happens where attention is undivided and commitment is uninterrupted. Focus requires you to decide what matters most, and that decision automatically creates distance from everything else. You cannot give your best attention to everything at the same time. Divided attention produces diluted results. When you try to hold on to too many things, you end up mastering none of them. Separation is how you protect what matters most. Many distractions are not obvious. They are not always chaos or negativity. Sometimes they come dressed as familiarity, convenience, or even loyalty. You can be surrounded by good things and still be unfocused. Separation is not about rejecting everything. It is about selecting wisely. It is learning to say no to what is good so you can say yes to what is essential. There are seasons in life when proximity is the enemy of progress. Constant accessibility keeps you reactive. Every message, every opinion, every request pulls at your attention. Separation gives you control over your time and energy. It allows you to respond with intention rather than react out of obligation. Focus also requires separation from your past self. You cannot grow while constantly revisiting who you used to be. Old identities, old mistakes, old narratives can become distractions if you carry them into new seasons. Separation is the decision to let go of expired versions of yourself so that a new version can emerge. Isolation, when chosen wisely, is not loneliness. It is refinement. It is in separation that you hear your own voice again. Without constant external input, you begin to recognize your values, your priorities, your direction. Noise blurs purpose. Quiet sharpens it. Separation tests commitment. Anyone can stay focused when conditions are ideal. But when you separate, you remove external reinforcement. There is no applause in separation, no immediate validation, only discipline. This is where focus becomes real. What you continue to pursue in silence reveals what truly matters to you. Focus requires separating from unnecessary explanations. The more you explain, the more you invite interference. Separation protects your process. Not everyone needs access to your plans. Some things grow best when they are hidden. Separation gives your vision room to mature without being prematurely judged. There is also separation from comparison. When you constantly observe others, you lose sight of your own path. Focus requires you to run your race, not monitor someone else's pace. Comparison creates pressure that distorts purpose. Separation restores perspective. Discipline thrives in separation. Routines are easier to build when distractions are removed. Consistency is strengthened when temptations are distant. Focus is not just mental, it is environmental. The spaces you inhabit shape the habits you form. Separation is often a physical act before it becomes a mental one. Separation also exposes truth. When you step back, you see relationships clearly. You recognize who supports your growth and who merely consumes your energy. Focus teaches you that access is a privilege, not a right. Cannot go with you where you are headed. Many fear separation because they confuse it with abandonment. But separation is not rejection, it is alignment. You are not leaving people behind. You are moving forward. Those who are meant to remain will adjust. Those who cannot were never meant to shape your future. Focus requires patience, and patience grows in separation. When distractions are removed, progress may feel slower, but it is deeper. What is built slowly is built to last. Separation removes shortcuts and forces you to develop substance. In time, separation produces clarity. Decisions become easier. Priorities become obvious. Energy becomes intentional. What once felt like sacrifice becomes freedom. You realize that separation was not taking something from you, it was giving you yourself. Focus is not found, it is created. And it is created by the choices you make about what to keep close and what to let go. Separation is the price of clarity, but it is also the reward. When you separate, you don't lose direction, you gain it. Focus requires separation because greatness demands space. Space to think. Space to build, in that space to become, and in that space, your purpose finds its voice, your discipline finds its strength, and your future begins to take shape. One of the most exhausting habits a person can develop is the constant pursuit of validation. The need to be seen, approved, praised, or affirmed by others slowly becomes a hidden master, shaping decisions, draining energy, and distorting purpose. Validation can feel like oxygen. When you rely on it to survive, you suffocate your own growth. At some point, maturity demands a hard truth. If you do not stop chasing validation, you will never fully become who you are meant to be. Validation is not inherently wrong. Encouragement has its place, and recognition can be meaningful. When approval becomes a requirement rather than a gift, it turns into a trap. You begin to measure your worth by reactions instead of values. You adjust your behavior to fit expectations instead of convictions. You choose what is applauded over what is aligned. Slowly, almost invisibly, you abandon yourself. Chasing validation makes you perform instead of live. You start curating a version of yourself that will be accepted, not one that is authentic. You say yes when you should say no. You stay silent when you should speak. You speak when you should stay silent. All because you are listening more closely to external voices than to your own inner direction. The danger of validation seeking is that it gives other people authority over your emotions. Their praise lifts you. Their silence crushes you. Criticism destabilizes you. You become emotionally reactive, constantly scanning for feedback. Peace becomes conditional. Confidence becomes fragile. Identity becomes negotiable. When you chase validation, you also delay growth. Growth often requires disappointing people, making unpopular choices, walking alone for a season. If you need approval to move forward, you will remain stuck at the edge of change. Transformation rarely looks impressive at first. It often looks confusing, uncomfortable, and misunderstood. Those who wait for validation before they move will never move far. Validation can also distort your sense of success. You begin to define achievement by visibility rather than substance. You value attention over impact. You prioritize being noticed over being effective. This leads to shallow victories that feel empty because they were never rooted in purpose. There is freedom in deciding that your worth is not up for debate. When you stop chasing validation, you stop negotiating your identity. You recognize that confidence is not something that people give you. It is something you claim through integrity. You do not need everyone to agree with you for you to be right for yourself. Stopping the chase requires self-trust. It requires believing that your inner compass is more reliable than public opinion. This does not mean you ignore wisdom or refuse feedback. It means you are selective. You listen to voices that are informed, invested, and aligned, not to every opinion that happens to be loud. Stop chasing validation. Your focus shifts inward. You begin asking better questions. Am I growing? Am I consistent? Am I living in alignment with my values? These questions produce lasting confidence because they are rooted in effort, not applause. There is also a spiritual and emotional maturity that comes with detachment from validation. You realize that people are often reacting to their own fears, biases, and limitations. Their approval or disapproval is rarely about you. Once you understand this, you stop taking everything personally. You stop trying to win rooms that were never meant to be home. Stopping the chase does not make you cold or indifferent. It makes you grounded. You can appreciate praise without depending on it. You can accept criticism without being destroyed by it. You can move forward steadily, regardless of who is watching. When validation is no longer your fuel, discipline takes its place. You work when no one is clapping. You improve when no one notices. You remain consistent when no one is encouraging you. This is where real power is formed. Anyone can shine when they are celebrated. Only the disciplined can grow when they are ignored. The most confident people are not the loudest. They are the most aligned. They know who they are, what they are building, and why it matters. Their peace does not rise and fall with opinions. Their direction is not altered by trends. Their identity is anchored. In time, something interesting happens. When you stop chasing validation, it often starts finding you, not because you asked for it, but because authenticity is undeniable. People recognize depth. They respect consistency. They are drawn to those who are not desperate for approval. But even if validation never comes, you are still whole. That is the ultimate freedom, to know that your life has meaning beyond applause, that your value exists even in silence, that your journey matters even when it is unseen. Stop chasing validation. Choose alignment over applause. Choose integrity over impression. Choose growth over approval. When you no longer need to be validated, You finally become unstoppable because nothing outside of you has the power to define you anymore. Discipline is rarely born in moments of excitement or public attention. It does not arrive with applause, announcements, or recognition. True discipline is formed quietly, away from the noise, in spaces where no one is watching and no one is rewarding the effort. This is why discipline grows best in silence. Silence removes performance and exposes commitment. It strips away external motivation and reveals what you are truly willing to do when the only witness is yourself. In silence, there is no pressure to impress. No audience to satisfy, no expectations to manage. You are left alone with your intentions and your habits. This is where discipline becomes honest. Without silence, discipline often turns into performance, something done for praise rather than progress. But in silence, discipline is pure. It is driven by purpose, not applause. Silence creates focus. Noise scatters attention, but quiet sharpens it. When the world is loud, discipline competes with distraction. Notifications, conversations, opinions, and demands constantly pull you away from consistency. Silence reduces these interruptions. It creates an environment where routines can take root and habits can deepen. What is repeated in silence becomes natural in public. Discipline also requires patience, and patience is strengthened in quiet seasons. Loud environments demand instant results and visible progress. Silence teaches you to work without immediate feedback. It trains you to trust the process even when there is no confirmation that it is working. This patience is critical because most meaningful growth happens slowly and invisibly before it ever becomes evident. In silence, excuses are harder to hide. When there is no one else to blame, you must confront your own patterns. Discipline grows when you take responsibility without distraction. Silence forces accountability. It exposes inconsistency and challenges comfort. This confrontation, though uncomfortable, is essential. Discipline is built by facing what you would rather avoid. Silence also protects discipline from comparison. When you constantly observe others, discipline weakens. You begin to measure your progress against someone else's pace, someone else's resources, someone else's results. Silence removes these comparisons. It allows you to focus on your own rhythm and your own standards. Discipline thrives when it is personal, not competitive. Many people abandon discipline because they expect encouragement to sustain it, but encouragement is unreliable. Applause fades, motivation fluctuates. Silence teaches you to continue regardless. It trains you to show up when enthusiasm is absent. This is the difference between temporary effort and lasting discipline. Silence builds endurance. There is a refining quality to silence. It eliminates shortcuts. Without external validation, you are forced to develop substance. Discipline formed in silence is thorough, not rushed. It prioritizes quality over speed. What is built this way lasts because it is not dependent on mood or recognition. Silence also strengthens internal dialogue. When the noise is gone, you hear your own thoughts more clearly. You recognize doubts, fears, and resistance. Discipline grows as you learn to challenge these internal obstacles. Battle for consistency is often internal, not external. Silence is where this battle is fought and won. In quiet seasons, discipline becomes identity rather than effort. What once felt difficult becomes routine. What once required motivation becomes habit. Silence allows repetition without interruption, and repetition is the foundation of discipline. Over time, discipline stops feeling like a struggle and starts feeling like alignment. There is also humility in silent discipline. You learn to work without being seen. You learn to succeed without announcing it. This humility protects discipline from ego. Ego seeks recognition. Discipline seeks results. Silence keeps ego in check, ensuring that growth remains the priority. Discipline built in silence prepares you for pressure. When challenges arise, you are not scrambling to develop habits. You already have them. You do not rely on external structure because internal structure has been formed. Silence creates resilience. It strengthens your ability to remain consistent under stress. Many underestimate the power of silent consistency. Small, repeated actions done quietly accumulate into significant transformation. What seems insignificant in the moment becomes extraordinary over time. Silence hides the process, but it does not diminish the result. Eventually, discipline leaves the silent place and becomes visible. People notice the strength, skill, the stability, the confidence. They see the outcome, not the countless quiet moments that produced it. Silence does not erase discipline, amplifies its impact. Discipline grows best in silence because silence demands authenticity, patience, and responsibility. It removes distractions, strengthens focus, and builds endurance. It teaches you to rely on commitment rather than applause. In silence, discipline becomes part of who you are, not just something you do. Stay committed in the quiet. Keep showing up when no one is watching. Let discipline mature without interruption. The noise returns, you will not be shaken, because what was built in silence will stand in any environment. Distractions are deceptive. They rarely appear as threats. They often arrive disguised as convenience, comfort, familiarity, or even opportunity. They seem harmless at first glance, almost inviting. They whisper promises of pleasure, engagement, or temporary relief. But the truth is, even the most seemingly innocent distractions have the power to derail focus, dilute energy, and delay destiny. What appears harmless can quietly consume your time, distort your priorities, and keep you from the life you are capable of living. Distractions are everywhere. They hide in plain sight, embedded in social interactions, habits, media, and even our own thoughts. They often present themselves as necessary, message that needs answering, a task that seems urgent, a conversation that seems polite. But if you are not intentional, these small interruptions can compound into a massive diversion from your purpose. The danger of distraction is that it is subtle. A loud interruption is obvious. Tempting shortcut is easy to avoid. Distractions that look harmless often masquerade as harmless choices. Checking social media just for a minute, engaging in gossip just for context, attending events that don't align with your priorities just to be polite. Each of these small deviations, time erodes focus. They train your mind to respond to stimuli instead of steering it toward intentional action. Distractions are often emotional traps. They appeal to desire, curiosity, or fear of missing out. They promise connection, entertainment, or a temporary sense of achievement. The emotional pull is precisely what keeps you reactive rather than proactive. When you chase emotional satisfaction in harmless, seeming distractions, you trade your attention for fleeting pleasure, delaying meaningful progress. One of the most dangerous types of distraction is internal. Thoughts that pull you away from action, doubts that make you pause unnecessarily, and fears that masquerade as caution are all forms of internal diversion. External distractions, these are harder to detect because they feel like reason. You can convince yourself that these thoughts are productive when in reality, they keep you stuck. Distractions also test your boundaries. They challenge your discipline by making avoidance seem optional. They present themselves as acceptable deviations from your plan. But discipline is built on consistency, and even small interruptions weaken it. Single harmless distraction may feel inconsequential, but repeated, it trains the mind to prioritize novelty and convenience over commitment and purpose. Distractions often appear during moments of stillness. When you are quiet, reflecting, or planning, harmless distractions can creep in. A phone buzz, a random conversation, or even self-justifying thoughts can interrupt focus. This is why awareness and intentionality are critical. Silence and solitude are fertile ground for progress, but only if you guard them from seemingly harmless diversions. Another subtle form of distraction comes disguised as opportunity. Invitations, suggestions, ideas that do not align with your core objectives can feel like stepping stones. Stepping stones that divert your attention from the main path are traps in disguise. Not every opportunity is your opportunity. Every suggestion is beneficial. Discerning harmless-looking distractions from genuine catalysts is a key part of maintaining focus. Distractions also rob you of time, your most valuable resource. Hours spent responding to harmless interruptions add up. Minutes spent on trivial engagements accumulate into lost days. Time is the currency of growth. Every moment spent reacting to distractions is a moment that could have been invested in mastery, learning, or building. Even the smallest distraction, repeated over weeks and months, compounds into a significant delay in progress. Many underestimate the cumulative impact of harmless distractions. They think it's just a little break, it won't hurt. Yet life does not forgive time wasted. Quiet erosion of focus creates patterns that are difficult to reverse. Productivity suffers, discipline weakens, momentum falters. What seemed inconsequential in the moment becomes a defining factor in whether or not you achieve your goals. Distractions often appeal to comfort. They make the hard things feel unnecessary. They make the difficult path seem optional. They convince you that procrastination is harmless, that diversions are deserved. But every moment spent avoiding the necessary work is a moment that reinforces avoidance as a habit. Comfort can feel harmless, but it often comes at the cost of progress. Awareness is the first step in overcoming distractions. Recognizing that what looks harmless is often harmful allows you to take control. Reflection and mindfulness help distinguish between what is urgent and what is trivial, between what is necessary and what is optional. Without awareness, distractions become the invisible chains that bind you, and your time and energy slip through unnoticed. Distractions also test your priorities. They reveal what you truly value. If a seemingly harmless diversion can pull you from work, purpose, or discipline, it exposes where your focus lies. In a sense, distractions are mirrors. They show you whether your attention is aligned with your objectives or scattered across fleeting indulgences. Resisting distractions requires intentional action. Boundaries must be set, habits must be formed, and environments must be structured to minimize temptation. Tools, routines, and mental discipline all play a role in protecting your focus. Silence, solitude, deliberate limitation of unnecessary inputs are essential for cultivating sustained attention. The consequences of ignoring distractions are not immediate, which makes them even more dangerous. Harmless distractions rarely destroy progress instantly. Instead, they accumulate slowly, eroding focus, weakening discipline, and delaying outcomes. Like a small leak in a dam, what seems minor can eventually overwhelm if left unchecked. Yet, recognizing the threat allows you to transform the challenger into growth. When you understand that distractions are not harmless, you develop vigilance. You learn to protect your time, conserve your energy, and invest attention wisely. You cultivate a mental and physical environment where focus can flourish. Silence, clarity, and intentionality become allies while distractions lose their power. Distractions often look harmless because they appeal to the present. They offer comfort, entertainment, or temporary satisfaction, but growth, success, and purpose live in the future. Discipline, vision, and achievement demand that you prioritize long-term gains over short-term indulgences. Every moment of focus preserved is an investment in the life you are building. In conclusion, distractions are never truly harmless. They arrive quietly, dressed as convenience, comfort, curiosity, or opportunity, and they quietly steal your attention, time, and momentum. Recognizing them is the first step. Resisting them is the discipline that follows. Focus is preserved in awareness, in boundaries, and in deliberate separation from what does not serve your purpose. The power to achieve greatness comes from protecting what matters most. To rise above mediocrity, you must see distractions for what they are and refuse to be seduced by their harmless-looking facade. Every moment spent undistracted, choice made with intentionality, compounds into lasting success. The quiet battles fought against these subtle diversions determine whether your life moves toward your destiny or drifts aimlessly into regret. Distractions often look harmless, but the disciplined know the truth. The smallest compromise of focus can delay your breakthrough. Guard your attention. Protect your time, and let nothing that appears innocent steal what you are building. In silence, with intention, and with unwavering commitment, focus flourishes and destiny finally responds. There is a principle in life that many people overlook. Opportunity does not randomly appear. It is drawn to alignment. When your actions, your focus, your values, and your intentions are in harmony, the universe, or life itself, begins to respond. Doors that once seemed closed begin to open. Connections that were previously out of reach become available. Opportunities come not because you begged for them or forced them, because you positioned yourself correctly. Alignment attracts opportunity. Alignment begins internally. It starts with clarity about who you are, what you value, and what you are striving for. Without this self-knowledge, you drift. react and pursue the wrong things. Misalignment is visible in distracted effort, inconsistent behavior, and fragmented focus. Opportunities avoid confusion and chaos. They are naturally drawn to those whose inner compass points steadily toward purpose. When your priorities, habits, values are aligned, you create a signal that life can recognize. People notice consistency even if they do not consciously understand it. Your energy communicates readiness, reliability, and competence. Doors open, invitations arrive, and resources flow naturally, not because you demanded them, because your alignment demonstrates that you are prepared to receive them. Many people pursue opportunities without alignment. They chase trends, popular paths, or react to external pressure. This often results in temporary success, fleeting recognition, or shallow gains. Without alignment, opportunities are meaningless because they do not contribute to your long-term growth. Alignment ensures that the opportunities you attract are meaningful, strategic, and capable of elevating your trajectory. Alignment is cultivated through discipline. Every choice, every habit, every thought contributes to alignment or misalignment. Small inconsistencies compound into misalignment over time. Ignoring priorities, compromising values, scattering energy dilutes your readiness. Conversely, consistency strengthens alignment, signaling that you are capable of handling greater responsibility and bigger opportunities. Focus and alignment are inseparable. When you focus your attention on what matters most, you align your actions with your purpose. When you align your actions with your purpose, you attract resources and people that resonate with your path. Distractions, detours, and external pressures lose their ability to sway you. Alignment acts like a magnet. It does not beg for opportunity, it draws it naturally. Opportunities often appear when least expected. They do not appear to the unprepared. The universe or life responds to readiness, not desire. A person aligned internally is ready for growth. They possess the skill, clarity, and character to handle what comes. Misaligned individuals may encounter openings. They often falter because they lack preparation, focus, or understanding. Alignment ensures that readiness meets timing. Alignment also affects relationships. People are drawn to individuals whose lives are coherent, consistent, and purposeful. Collaboration, mentorship, and partnership often follow alignment. When your vision and actions are in harmony, you naturally attract those who can elevate you, guide you, or open doors. Conversely, misalignment often attracts conflict, confusion, or people who derail progress. Opportunity is as social as it is circumstantial. There is also a spiritual or energetic alignment. When your intentions, actions, and values are consistent, your energy becomes coherent. Coherence resonates with possibility. It emits a frequency of readiness, and that frequency draws conditions, circumstances, and people that match it. Life does not always respond to effort alone. It responds to alignment. Effort without alignment is often wasted motion. Alignment requires honesty and self-awareness. You must confront inconsistencies in behavior, habits, and intentions. You must identify where your actions contradict your values or goals. Without this self-assessment, misalignment grows unnoticed. Clarity about who you are and what you want is the foundation for creating conditions in which opportunity can find you. Patience is a part of alignment. Every opportunity will arrive immediately. Some doors take time to open, and some opportunities take time to manifest. Alignment is not about rushing results. It is about preparing steadily. A person aligned with their purpose does not panic when opportunity delays, because they understand that readiness is the key, not speed. Alignment also requires sacrifice. You cannot maintain coherence if you overcommit, pursue distractions, or compromise core values. Compromise introduces friction, reduces energy, and repels opportunity. To align fully, you must be willing to say no to what is inconsistent with your vision, even when it appears attractive. Opportunity favors decisiveness and clarity, indecision and compromise. Opportunities drawn through alignment are sustainable. They are capable of growth, lasting impact, and personal elevation. Opportunities that arrive through desperation, chance, or manipulation often falter because the individual is not ready. Alignment ensures that when opportunity knocks, you are not only ready to receive, but ready to steward it with wisdom, responsibility, and integrity. Sometimes alignment requires stepping away. Certain relationships, environments, habits may hinder the flow of opportunity because they are inconsistent with your path. Separation, focus, intentionality are necessary to maintain alignment. When your life is coherent, distractions diminish, clarity grows, and opportunities appear as a natural consequence. The principle of alignment applies to skill and preparation as well. Developing competence, discipline, and character ensures that when opportunity arrives, you are capable of utilizing it. Alignment is not merely about intention, it is about readiness. It is the synchronization of effort, knowledge, and timing. Opportunity is attracted to those who can handle it, not to those who simply want it. Alignment is cumulative. Every choice, every habit, every moment of focus strengthens your position and increases your attractiveness to opportunity. Misalignment compounds quietly, eroding potential and diverting progress. Disciplined alignment of small actions creates momentum that eventually attracts the doors, people, and circumstances that define success. Ultimately, alignment transforms life from randomness into purpose. The chaos of chance becomes the order of design. When your internal and external worlds are coherent, life flows in your favor. Opportunities appear not by accident, but as a reflection of readiness and alignment you no longer have to chase. Instead, you position yourself and the world responds. Alignment attracts opportunity because opportunity seeks resonance. It seeks readiness, clarity, and coherence. When you align your vision, habits, actions, and values, you emit a signal that cannot be ignored. Doors open, people respond, possibilities manifest in ways that feel effortless but are the result of consistent, disciplined alignment. In conclusion, to attract opportunity, first align yourself, align your values, your actions, your focus, and your habits. Protect your time, guard your energy, and cultivate coherence. When you do, life responds. What once seemed distant becomes accessible. What once seemed impossible becomes possible. Alignment does not guarantee immediate reward, but it guarantees readiness, and readiness is the foundation upon which every opportunity builds. Opportunity does not pursue chaos or inconsistency. It follows alignment, clarity, and preparation. Be aligned, be disciplined, be patient, and the doors will open. Life rewards those who are ready before it rewards those who are waiting. Life is made up of seasons, each with its own rhythm, purpose, and lessons. Some seasons are loud, filled with recognition, activity, and visible results. Others are quiet, seemingly uneventful, invisible to the outside world, often misunderstood. Yet the quiet seasons are perhaps the most powerful of all. They are not empty, stagnant, or unimportant. They are preparation seasons designed to equip you for what is coming, to strengthen you in ways that noise, applause, or visibility cannot. A quiet season is not a punishment. It is not a signal that you are forgotten, failing, or left behind. Rather, it is a space of growth, refinement, and alignment. It is the time when your character is formed, your skills are sharpened, and your vision takes root. In quiet seasons, you are often working harder than ever, but the effort may be invisible. This invisibility is intentional because the world is not ready to see what is being prepared within you. Preparation often requires isolation. When you are alone with your thoughts, your goals, and your discipline, you gain clarity. Distractions of social expectation, constant feedback, and immediate approval are removed. In solitude, you can focus on your development without interruption. This is why the quiet seasons feel empty to others. They cannot see the work being done within. They cannot witness the battles fought internally or the habits being cultivated silently. Quiet seasons also test faith. When progress is unseen and validation is absent, patience becomes essential. This is the moment where belief in yourself and trust in the process are challenged. Quiet seasons teach you to rely on internal assurance rather than external recognition. They train resilience, the kind that does not depend on applause or acknowledgement. True preparation requires endurance, and endurance is born in patience, solitude, and persistence. During quiet seasons, character is forged, strength is developed when effort is sustained without reward. Discipline is built when routines continue, Even when motivation wanes, integrity is tested when no one is watching. These intangible qualities are the foundation for the visible success that will come later. What is built in the shadows is often stronger than what is built in the spotlight. Quiet seasons allow for reflection and self-assessment. They create a space where you can identify your weaknesses, evaluate your priorities, and redefine your direction. In noisy, visible seasons, it is easy to be distracted by recognition, approval, or the pressure to perform. Quiet seasons remove these distractions, forcing you to confront yourself honestly and adjust your path accordingly. This preparation is essential because it ensures that when opportunity arrives, you are ready, not just in skill, but in vision, mindset, and alignment. These seasons are also critical for strategic planning. In the quiet, you have the opportunity to observe without interference, think deeply without pressure, and make intentional choices that will shape your future. While others rush toward visibility and reaction, you are planting the seeds that will later bear fruit. Every effort, every disciplined choice, every moment of restraint compounds silently. By the time the quiet season ends, you are positioned to move decisively with clarity and confidence. One of the most overlooked aspects of quiet seasons is the development of resilience. Life will test your patience, challenge your focus, provoke frustration during these times. Yet these trials are the forge in which inner strength is honed. You learn to operate without constant encouragement, to pursue goals without immediate reward, and to persevere when circumstances are not ideal. The quiet seasons build a type of resilience that cannot be taught in visible, easy moments. It must be lived and experienced. Quiet seasons also protect the sacred process of growth. In times of visibility, external pressures often demand compromise. Opinions, distractions, premature advice can dilute effort or derail progress. Silence safeguards preparation. It shields your work, your vision, and your development from interference. It allows you to mature privately until the time is right for manifestation. What is prepared quietly often arrives powerfully because it is untarnished by premature exposure or external influence. Spiritual and mental growth also flourish in quiet seasons. With less noise and fewer expectations, the mind gains clarity and the spirit gains depth. You learn to listen to your intuition, trust your inner guidance, and align your actions with purpose rather than reaction. Quiet seasons cultivate wisdom, the ability to act from insight rather than impulse. They build discernment, teaching you which paths to pursue, which people to trust, and which opportunities to embrace when the time arrives. The most successful, fulfilled, influential individuals are often those who embrace their quiet seasons. They recognize that visible progress is temporary if the foundation is weak, and they invested in the invisible. Skills, habits, discipline, and networks developed in preparation seasons ensure that when breakthrough occurs, it is sustainable. Quiet seasons produce depth, stability, and readiness, whereas noisy seasons without preparation can lead to fleeting or superficial gains. Quiet seasons are also humbling. They remind you that growth is not always public, instant, or easy. They teach patience, perseverance, and humility. In the quiet, you learn to value substance over appearance. You learn that your worth is not measured by immediate outcomes, but by the integrity of your effort and the consistency of your discipline. This humility is essential for long-term success because it prevents arrogance and builds character. It is important to recognize that quiet seasons are not a void. They are fertile ground. They are the invisible preparation rooms where greatness is cultivated. Every effort made, every challenge endured, every skill developed, and every lesson learned compounds in ways that cannot be seen immediately. The growth is real, even if it is not yet acknowledged externally. The investment made in silence will pay dividends when the season shifts and the time comes to act. Quiet seasons teach trust in timing. They reveal that not everything is meant to happen now. Some things require gestation, refinement, and readiness. Opportunity, recognition, and success arrive in their season, often after long periods of preparation. The quiet period is the bridge between your current self and the person you are becoming, the incubation period for your potential. In conclusion, quiet seasons are preparation seasons. They are not empty, wasted, or insignificant. They are the moments in which discipline is strengthened, character is built, Skills are sharpened and vision is clarified. They are times of reflection, strategy, and internal alignment. Those who embrace quiet seasons understand that what is unseen is not meaningless. It is deliberate, intentional, and powerful. Do not fear the quiet. Do not resent the stillness. Instead, use it, cultivate yourself, build your habits, refine your purpose, and prepare relentlessly. When the quiet season ends, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more prepared than those who only seek immediate recognition. Remember, the most transformative growth often happens in silence, and the strongest victories are born from preparation. Quiet seasons are not delays, they are investments. Invest wisely, and life will respond in ways that make the wait worthwhile. In a world obsessed with noise, declarations, and appearances, there's one truth that cannot be ignored. Results speak louder than announcements. Words are easy. Anyone can speak promise, claim, but action, consistent, measurable, and effective action cannot be faked. Results are the proof of effort, the evidence of discipline, the manifestation of purpose. Announcements, no matter how eloquent or confident, carry weight only when backed by results. Too often, people are deceived by talk. They are impressed by declarations, motivated by promises, and misled by claims of intention. But talk alone cannot deliver. You can tell the world your plans, your dreams, and your goals endlessly, yet without tangible outcomes, your words remain hollow. Words inspire only until action begins, but results inspire indefinitely. Results confirm capability, commitment, and competence. Announcing a goal is not inherently wrong, but is insufficient. Words are temporary, results are enduring. You can claim expertise, talent, or opportunity until you produce. The claim holds little power. The world does not reward promises, it rewards achievement. Announcements may generate attention or curiosity, but results generate respect, influence, and momentum. Results speak louder because they carry credibility. Anyone can talk confidently, but only those who deliver consistently command authority. When you produce tangible outcomes, people stop asking questions. Skepticism fades in the presence of proof. Every action that produces measurable impact strengthens your position and diminishes doubt. Unlike announcements, results cannot be argued with, misunderstood, or dismissed easily. There is also humility in letting results speak. Announcements can feed ego, creating the illusion of progress without effort. Results demand patience, discipline, and resilience. They cannot be rushed, exaggerated, or faked. By prioritizing action over talk, you cultivate a quiet strength that does not seek approval or applause. It earns it. Results become the ultimate declaration, louder than any words could ever be. Many people spend too much time explaining, justifying, and promoting themselves. They feel the need to convince others of their value, potential, or purpose. But results eliminate the need for explanation. When you produce, your work becomes its own voice. It validates your effort, clarifies your vision, and silences critics. Actions backed by outcomes carry more authority than any narrative constructed through words. Results also have permanence. Words are fleeting. They can be forgotten, misinterpreted, or ignored. Actions that produce results endure. They create legacy, impact, and momentum. A single measurable achievement can open doors that announcements never could. One consistent pattern of results attracts opportunities, trust, and recognition, while excessive talking without follow-through breeds skepticism and diminishes credibility. Announcements often create unnecessary pressure. Speaking too early about intentions or ambitions exposes you to scrutiny, expectation, and judgment. The world may respond with doubt or criticism, and external voices can influence your confidence. Results allow you to work quietly, build momentum, demonstrate progress before subjecting yourself to the opinions of others. There is power in preparation, and results are the manifestation of disciplined preparation. Consistent results also build influence. Influence is earned, not claimed. People are drawn to those who demonstrate capability, consistency, and impact. Influence comes not from self-promotion, but from proven achievement. Leaders, innovators, and successful individuals are recognized for what they produce, not for what they declare. Words create awareness, results create authority. Results speak louder because they eliminate ambiguity. Announcements often leave room for interpretation, doubt, and debate. Results are clear, measurable, and indisputable. When your work produces tangible outcomes, questions about ability, commitment, or competence are answered without further explanation. Results communicate confidence, clarity, and capability in a way that words cannot replicate. The focus on results encourages action over distraction. Talking about goals can create the illusion of progress, but action produces reality. Announcements are noise, results are proof. When your energy is directed toward execution, improvement, and consistency, the results compound. Every small achievement adds momentum. Every completed task reinforces your ability to produce more, creating a cycle of growth that announcements alone cannot generate. Results also inspire others. Words can motivate temporarily, but seeing tangible outcomes motivates continuously. When people witness the impact of disciplined effort, they are influenced, encouraged, and compelled to follow. Success through results is contagious because it is authentic. It demonstrates what is possible when preparation, focus, persistence are applied consistently. Announcements without results can breed doubt and diminish credibility over time. The more claims are made without evidence, the harder it becomes for people to trust future statements. Conversely, results create trust. They produce a track record that speaks for itself. Every achievement becomes a reference point for future credibility. Results turn potential into proof and promises into reality. Results also define legacy. Words fade, stories are forgotten, and intentions are often lost. Results leave a mark. They create measurable change, lasting influence, and a tangible footprint in the world. True impact is built on what is accomplished, not what is promised. Those who understand this principle prioritize effort, persistence, and execution over self-promotion, and over time, their legacy becomes undeniable. Focusing on results teaches patience and resilience. Outcomes do not appear instantly, and effort must be consistent over time. Announcements may offer temporary recognition, but they do not cultivate the persistence required for lasting achievement. Results are the product of discipline, endurance, and consistency. They reveal character, work ethic, and determination, qualities that announcements cannot manufacture. Ultimately, results are the ultimate communicator. They transcend opinion, criticism, and misunderstanding. While words can be disputed, misinterpreted, or ignored, results are undeniable evidence. They demonstrate that vision is real, effort is consistent, and purpose is fulfilled. By prioritizing results over announcements, you allow your work to define you, your progress to validate you, and your life to testify to your commitment. In conclusion, results speak louder than announcements because they are proof, authority, and evidence. Words may inform, inspire, or entertain, but results transform, validate, command respect. The world notices those who deliver, not those who declare. Focus on producing, executing, and delivering measurable outcomes. Let your work, your achievements, and your consistency communicate your value. Announce less, produce more. Results are louder than any speech, bolder than any claim, and more enduring than any promise. They are the ultimate statement of capability, integrity, and purpose.